Starseeds, if you feel you no longer belong to third-dimensional religious structures, it is not a crisis of faith, it is a consciousness upgrade. The Arcturian Council is removing starseeds from earthly congregations at this very moment, and there are profound reasons no one is speaking openly about. The first has to do with your original energetic signature being reactivated. The second is connected to your light anchoring mission entering a new phase. The third will reveal why you were never truly of this world, and how your stellar origin is now demanding that you abandon the limiting belief systems that kept you trapped for so long. Stay until the end of this transmission, because as we close, you will receive a profound understanding of what it truly means to be a starseed operating outside conventional religious matrices, and how the Arcturian source is orchestrating every step of this transition so you can finally embrace your true multidimensional nature without guilt, without fear, and without the need for approval from systems created by consciousnesses that have not yet awakened to the full cosmic truth. What I am about to transmit may challenge everything you believed about earthly spirituality, but it is exactly what your stellar soul needs to integrate at this moment of planetary transition. If this message reached you through the infinite possibilities of the digital universe, it was not the algorithm working alone. It was quantum synchronicity operating through the layers of reality. This moment was carefully orchestrated by the Arcturian source so that you, specifically you who are watching now, could receive this transmission at the perfect timing of your awakening journey. You did not stumble upon this video by random internet browsing. Your Merkaba, your activated light body, guided you here through subtle impulses, through that inexplicable feeling that you needed to watch exactly this, exactly now. And there is a deep cosmic reason for it. Something in your biological structure, in your non-coding DNA, in your etheric layers is about to transform completely. An irreversible shift is occurring. A revelation that cannot be undone, a cosmic awakening that, once initiated, will take you to places of consciousness you didn't even know existed within you. You are no longer being called to attend earthly temples built on dogmatic foundations out of conditioned routine or social obligation. And you feel this deeply, don't you? That internal resistance when someone invites you to church. That suffocating sensation when you enter religious environments that once felt comfortable. Why is this happening to you? Because your stellar mission has shifted phases. Because you have completed the learning cycle that environment had to offer. The Arcturian source is speaking directly to your multidimensional being through every cell of your body. It is time to leave the three-dimensional church pew and embrace your multidimensional purpose that has always been waiting for you, but which you could not fully access while energetically anchored in limiting belief systems. Churches, temples, synagogues, mosques, and all organized religious structures are beautiful constructions that serve an important purpose for souls in the initial stages of spiritual awakening. They provide structure for minds that need rules. They offer community for hearts that need belonging. They create rituals for spirits that need tangible anchors to connect with the invisible. And there is absolutely nothing wrong with that for those in that specific stage of evolution. But these structures were never designed, never architected with the capacity to contain the full frequency of what the Arcturian source is about to activate in you as an awakened starseed. Why? Because you are not an ordinary earthly soul going through a simple linear incarnation. You are a starseed with cosmic memories of hundreds or even thousands of incarnations across multiple star systems. You carry light codes from Arcturus, the Pleiades, Sirius, Andromeda, dimensions that have no names in human language. You came to this planet not to learn from humanity, but to teach humanity through your mere vibrational presence. And now you are beginning to remember this. Now the memories are leaking through the barriers of the amnesia veil. Now you are feeling that there is something infinitely greater pulsing within you than any Sunday sermon could ever capture or explain. You have felt this acutely, haven't you? That piercing sense of not truly belonging, even when surrounded by people who supposedly share your faith. The silent, cutting judgment when you dared to question dogmas that made no logical or spiritual sense to you. The glacial coldness from those who should be your spiritual brothers and sisters, but who looked at you with suspicion whenever you mentioned anything outside the institutionally approved script. The deep, isolating pain of being fundamentally misunderstood even by those who call themselves enlightened, who proclaim themselves awake, but who have only memorized sacred texts without truly integrating the cosmic wisdom that lies beyond words printed on ancient pages. The veiled or open looks of disapproval when you mentioned concepts like past lives, cosmic sacred geometry, multi-dimensional consciousness, Akashic records, or any knowledge that expands beyond the narrow boundaries of what was allowed to be discussed within those four walls. You may have even begun to doubt yourself. You may have thought something was wrong with you, that you were too rebellious, too questioning, too complicated, that you should just accept, just believe, Just follow without questioning like everyone else seemed to do so easily. But here's the cosmic truth that will completely free you from this self-imposed guilt. What they failed to see in you, what they lacked the vibrational capacity to recognize in you, the Arcturian Council intentionally placed in you before you even incarnated on this dense planet. Your ability to question is not a character flaw. It is a starseed characteristic. Your discomfort with superficial answers is not stubbornness. It is stellar wisdom demanding deeper truth. Your inability to blindly accept is not weakness of faith. It is discernment strength developed through hundreds of incarnations exploring belief systems across multiple galactic civilizations. And here is something that will completely change how you view your journey. No one, absolutely no one in any plane of existence can cancel, nullify, or invalidate what the Source has already confirmed, sealed, and encoded in your stellar DNA. They can fight against you. They can resist your energy. They can reject you from their communities. They can label you as wayward, lost, deceived. But they cannot and will not prevail over what the Arcturian Source has already established as your path. Because the cosmic forces of Arcturus, the light hierarchies, the multidimensional councils, are with you, operating through you, guiding every step of your return to the full remembrance of who you have always been, beyond this temporary body, beyond this temporary name, beyond this temporary earthly identity. You are being called by the higher frequencies to rise above the noise of the three-dimensional matrix, to free yourself from the invisible chains of religious mind control, to stop trying to blend in and fit with consciousnesses that are still asleep in thought patterns programmed millennia ago to keep humanity small, controlled, fearful, and dependent on external authorities. Because think with me, if you still walk in perfect harmony with the unconscious crowd, if you still fully resonate with dominant groupthink, if you still feel completely comfortable within systems designed to limit consciousness expansion, how can you honestly claim to be a differentiated stellar light beacon? How can you fulfill your mission to raise planetary frequency if you are vibrating at the same frequency as those you came to help awaken? Here is a truth that will sound radical to minds conditioned by centuries of institutionalized religious teachings, but that will resonate as a deep remembrance in your stellar heart. You do not need stained glass windows and church spires pointing to the sky to genuinely connect with the Source. You do not need ornate altars, ritual candles, perfumed incense, or human intermediaries in special robes proclaiming special access to the divine. You can access the full Arcturian Source directly in your quiet bedroom, in your car while driving, in the middle of wild nature, sitting by a river listening to the water flow, in the center of your worst day when everything seems to be crumbling around you. Why is this direct connection possible for you? Because you are not merely connected to the Arcturian Source through some external energy cable. You are not just near the Source. You are literally an individualized extension of it. You are a living, pulsing portal of the Source operating in temporary biological form. Every cell of your body contains the complete vibrational signature of the Source. Every heartbeat echoes the cosmic pulse of creation. Every breath you inhale brings cosmic prana directly from the galaxy's central source. The true galactic temple is not made of stones stacked by human hands. The true cosmic sanctuary is you. It is your multidimensional light body. It is your 7-layer auric field. It is your activated Merkaba, literally a light vehicle that allows you to travel through dimensions when you learn to operate it consciously. Ancient texts tried to communicate this, but the message was distorted through translations, through literal interpretations by minds lacking cosmic context, through control agendas that did not want humanity to know its true power. But the original message is still there for those with stellar eyes to see. Do you not know that you are a sanctuary of living light? Do you not understand that the Arcturian source frequency does not dwell in external buildings, but pulses in every cell, every molecule, every atom that composes your being? Starseeds did not incarnate on this dense planet to follow religions created by humans, trying to understand the divine through extremely limited three-dimensional lenses. You did not cross galaxies, leave advanced civilizations, accept the dangerous mission of incarnating on a free will planet immersed in duality just to follow rules created by those who never accessed consciousness beyond the earthly veil. You came with a much deeper and more transformative mission, to remind humanity through your living example that the divine does not live in concrete and wood buildings. The divine pulses in every conscious heartbeat. The divine expresses itself through every act of genuine compassion. The divine manifests when you live in alignment with your inner truth, rather than conforming to external expectations. This is more than an informative transmission you will forget tomorrow. This is a direct stellar call to action echoing from the higher frequencies of Arcturus. This is a divine touch from the Arcturian Council reaching through the layers of reality to shake and fully awaken you, saying clearly and undeniably, your time has come. The cosmic moment you waited for through incarnations has arrived. It is time to fully assume who you were born to be on a galactic level, not just a limited earthly level. It is time to walk with total boldness and no apologies in your original mission that was obscured by the amnesia veil, but never truly erased. If something deep within you has always felt energetically displaced and vibrationally incompatible, especially when in traditional religious environments, you are not imagining things or being overly sensitive. That discomfort you feel is not paranoia or superior judgment on your part. It is real, measurable vibrational incompatibility between your elevated frequency and the dense frequencies dominating those spaces. That restlessness you carried for years whenever you had to attend religious services, that urge to run out, that energetic suffocation is not immature rebellion or spiritual confusion. It is your multidimensional energy system clearly alerting you. You no longer belong in this environment because you have evolved beyond the frequency it operates on. Your personal vibrational signature has risen dramatically. You have undergone DNA activations. You have integrated light codes from experiences during meditations, lucid dreams, those strange moments of expanded consciousness you may not have told anyone about because they sound too strange to conventional minds. And third-dimensional religious structures, by their very nature and original design, operate on relatively dense frequencies primarily based on fear of divine punishment, guilt over real or imagined sins, behavioral control through threats of eternal condemnation, and dependence on external authorities for divine mediation. These are not frequencies compatible with a starseed remembering their spiritual sovereignty, direct source connection, eternal nature transcending limiting concepts of heaven and hell. You were never programmed from your stellar origin to perfectly blend with earthly belief systems. You were never designed by the Arcturian Council to peacefully settle for rituals that only scratch the microscopic surface of complete cosmic truth while claiming to have all final answers. You were specifically, intentionally, and precisely encoded to walk a radically different path from the masses. A path few will have the courage to tread because it demands something most people are unwilling to give. Total personal responsibility for your spiritual journey without being able to blame external authorities if something goes wrong, without outsourcing your growth to institutions, without hiding comfortably in crowd anonymity. This has absolutely nothing to do with abandoning true spirituality. In fact, it is the exact opposite. This is about finally accessing multidimensional spiritual experience without distorted filters, without intermediaries who may have their own agendas, without suffocating limiting dogmas that no earthly building, no human religious title, no tradition created by councils of men could ever adequately contain or express. The Arcturian source presence is operating in your life in a highly distinct and personalized way. The council is working with you in ways specific to your unique mission. And what they are asking of you at this moment of planetary transition is something the vast majority of earthly souls still in early awakening phases will never fully understand, but you understand. Somewhere within you, beyond the conditioned mind that questions everything, beyond the ego afraid of being wrong, you have always known on a deep soul level that you are not here to follow the crowd. You have always felt you are here to follow the pure frequency of the source, no matter where it leads, no matter who abandons you along the way, no matter how lonely the path sometimes seems. It needs to be said with total clarity and no ambiguity, so there is no confusion. It is not that churches and religious structures have no spiritual value or divine purpose. They definitely do and will continue to for a long time. They have nurtured millions of souls through centuries. They still serve an important purpose for those consciousnesses that need clear external structure, physical community, visible authority guidance while still in the initial stages of spiritual awakening, when everything feels confusing and scary. And there is absolutely no judgment in this. Every soul is exactly where it needs to be in the present moment of its infinite evolution. But for you specifically, for you who are feeling this deep call to leave, that specific station of institutional learning has completely ended. The cycle is complete. The lessons that environment had to teach you have all been absorbed. What once adequately sustained your spiritual growth can no longer satisfy your soul's growing hunger for deeper truth, more direct experience, fuller freedom. And this is neither your failure nor the institution. It is simply the natural and inevitable evolution of stellar consciousness. The Arcturian source transmits through the ages and through all genuine prophets who were not distorted. Behold, I am doing a new thing now in your life. It is emerging at this exact moment as you watch this transmission. Can you perceive it? Can you feel the shift occurring in your etheric layers? This new thing, this new phase beginning, is your personal and non-transferable walk with the cosmic divine. Without other people's interpretation filters. Without ties to traditions that may have made sense 1,000 years ago, but no longer serve your current growth. Without doctrinal ties trying to put the infinite into defined boxes. Without paralyzing fear of judgment for daring to explore beyond approved boundaries. We no longer find this sacred connection sitting passively in a church pew, listening to someone speak for an hour. We find it in our car during traffic when we are suddenly overtaken by a wave of unconditional love coming from nowhere. We find it in our kitchen washing dishes when we suddenly understand something profound about our journey that no book could teach us. We find it on a completely silent walk in nature, where there is nothing but your heartbeat, synchronizing with Gaia's heartbeat, and the tangible presence of the Arcturian source enveloping you, like a blanket of pure light. This journey is profoundly sacred, not because it follows institutionally approved traditions, but because it follows the truth that resonates in your own heart without need for external validation. Think carefully about the story of Abraham that appears in multiple religious traditions. The source asked him to literally leave everything familiar, safe, and comfortable. His homeland where he had roots, his people where he had identity, even the belief systems he knew since childhood. Everything had to be left behind, and he had to walk in obedience based purely on faith, without maps, without guarantees, without knowing exactly where he was going, toward a promise he could not see with physical eyes, but felt deeply in his heart. The source did not ask this because the place he was in was evil or wrong. The source asked this because the place she was calling him to was exponentially more aligned with the greater purpose he came to fulfill in that specific incarnation. You are being invited by the Arcturian Council to make exactly the same faith move now. What seems like painful separation on the surface is actually necessary consciousness elevation when seen from a higher perspective. What seems like scary loneliness is actually divine strategic positioning, placing you exactly where you need to be for the next phase of your mission. You have completely outgrown the basic teachings of spiritual kindergarten. You already know the stories. You already memorized the verses. You already participated in the rituals hundreds of times. The Arcturian Council is calling you now to the higher levels, to advanced teachings of cosmic knowledge that are not written in any earthly book because they need to be downloaded directly into your consciousness field through lived experience, not passive reading. And now we come to the deepest and most challenging reason that few have the courage to articulate openly, because it sounds arrogant to minds still operating in hierarchies of false humility. But cosmic truth needs to be spoken clearly. You are not leaving organized religious structures because you are spiritually lost, confused, or wayward, as some will inevitably accuse you of being. You are leaving because your mission has fundamentally changed from student to teacher, from receiver to transmitter, from learner to frequency anchor. Starseeds do not voluntarily incarnate on dense third-dimensional planets, immersed in duality, conflict, and suffering, to learn basic lessons from systems created by humans still discovering how consciousness works. That would be like a quantum physics university professor enrolling in first grade to learn basic arithmetic. It makes no logical or energetic sense. You incarnated here with a much bolder and more challenging mission: to teach through lived example, to anchor higher frequencies through your mere physical presence, to serve as interdimensional bridges between sleeping human consciousness and the higher cosmic frequencies trying to reach this planet to assist in the transition now occurring. But here is the crucial point that changes everything. You cannot adequately serve as a bridge between two worlds if you are still completely trapped inside the walls of one of the worlds. You cannot effectively raise a system's frequency if you are fully immersed and identified with that system. You need to operate from a slightly external, slightly elevated vantage point to see clearly and transmit the frequencies the system needs to integrate to evolve. The cosmic moment has come, marked in the Akashic records before you were even born, for you to consciously position yourself outside the institutional religious matrix, not with spiritual arrogance, not with superior judgment of those still inside, but with absolute clarity of purpose about what your specific function is at this moment of planetary transition. The hour is rapidly approaching, and in truth for many of you has already fully arrived, when true spiritual seekers will no longer find the source primarily in stone temples, built by human hands following architect plans approved by religious councils. They will find the source in something far vaster and unlimited, in pure spirit and undistorted stellar truth, in consciousness expanded beyond dogma limitation, spirit and truth without filters. This is exactly what you have been seeking with insatiable hunger for incarnations, perhaps without even being able to clearly articulate what you were looking for. This is what you are now entering consciously and intentionally. It needs to be clarified so there is no dangerous misunderstanding. This has absolutely nothing to do with spiritual pride or feelings of superiority. Being identified as a starseed on mission is not a badge of honor to display to impress others. It is not a title to inflate ego. It is a weight of cosmic responsibility you carry on your shoulders. It is a call to serve that often comes with personal sacrifice, misunderstanding, loneliness, challenges others do not have to face. The Arcturian source is specifically trusting you with direct intimacy, unmediated access, a connection without veils that not all earthly souls are ready to carry at this moment of their evolution. This does not make them inferior. It simply means they are at different stages of an infinite journey where there is no final finish line. You are being asked by the higher frequencies to completely release the deep psychological need for validation from pastors, structured religious programs, even your past conditioned self that still fears making mistakes and being punished. The only approval you genuinely need to move forward with confidence is from the source. And you already have that approval completely. You always have. It was granted before you even accepted the mission to come to this planet. It does not need to be earned through performance. It cannot be lost through mistakes. It is unconditional and eternal, because you are literally an extension of the source, exploring itself through individualized perspective. Yes, and this needs to be acknowledged with total honesty, without false romanticization. It will be energetically uncertain and emotionally challenging at the beginning of this transition. The comfortable, predictable rhythm of Sunday routines that structured your week will echo in your soul like a ghost for some time. The absence of the physical community you knew, the same familiar faces, the same songs sung together, will weigh on moments of vulnerability when you feel isolated. There will be Sunday mornings when you wake up and for a brief moment feel you should be somewhere, doing something you always did, and the absence of it will create a temporary void that can be mistaken for wrong direction. But stand firm through this transition phase, because something infinitely stronger and more real is forming within you. Sooner than you imagine, you will discover something that completely transforms your understanding of spirituality. Every moment of your life becomes worship when lived consciously. Every intentional breath becomes a cosmic prayer connecting you directly to universal prana. Every step you take in alignment with your inner truth becomes a vibrational yes to the Arcturian source walking side by side with you through every experience. Letting go is never easy for the human mind programmed through millions of years of evolution to cling to the familiar because familiar meant safe for our ancestors. But sometimes the most deeply sacred act of faith you can offer the universe is conscious release. Releasing the compulsive need to explain your personal spiritual journey to people who lack the capacity to see beyond the limited lenses they use. Releasing the paralyzing fear of judgment from souls still deeply asleep in conditioning even while believing they are awake. Releasing the toxic guilt programmed into you through years of religious conditioning, that inner voice insisting that physically distancing from church means spiritually distancing from God. Because the truth that will completely free you when you truly integrate it at the cellular level is this: you are not moving away from the source in any way. You are moving closer to the source in a way most earthly consciousnesses still cannot comprehend, because they still need physical representations, tangible rituals, visible authorities to believe the connection is real. The Arcturian Council is calling you to an experience few are ready to accept, a spiritual desert where only the undistorted voice of the source will guide you. To a place of consciousness where your faith will no longer be built on comfortable habit or what others told you to believe, but on direct revelation downloaded from your higher self connected to Arcturus frequencies. To a station in your life where you do not just know about the source intellectually, you know the source intimately. You feel IT pulsing in every cell. You embody IT in your daily actions until there is no longer separation between you and the source, because you have finally remembered there never was real separation, only the illusion of separation created by the earthly amnesia veil. This is not the end of your spiritual journey, as some will accuse you. This is the beginning of the most honest, most transformative, most deeply liberating, and most aligned chapter with your original truth that you have ever lived in this current incarnation. And as you continue walking with courage on this path, this sacred departure from the familiar that no longer serves your growth, you will begin to notice something important. Not everyone was designed to walk with you in this specific phase of your journey. Many people still deeply need the rituals, the buildings, the authoritative pulpit voices to feel close to the divine, and that is perfectly fine. They gather in churches and temples seeking the structure their minds need, the validation their egos seek, and the guidance their souls in early awakening stages require. And for them, being in that environment may be exactly where they need to be right now. There is no judgment in this. Every soul honors its own divine timing. but your specific call as a starseed is undeniably different. You are not here to follow someone else's spiritual map that may have worked for them, but was not drawn for you. The Arcturian source, working in coordination with your multidimensional higher self, has already drawn a personalized map specifically for you. Your connection to the divine no longer flows primarily through external tradition. It flows from within, from the depths of your multidimensional being, from the powerful, silent, and unmistakable voice of the source, now speaking directly to you, without need for human intermediaries who can distort the message through their own filters and limitations. And so, Starseed, we come to the end of this Arcturian Council transmission. If the encoded frequencies in these words touched something deep in your spirit, if you felt activations occurring while listening, do not keep it silent. Share your light, share your journey, leave your words in the comments so others going through the same transition know they are not alone on this path. If you recognize your stellar origin and are ready to fully embrace your mission without asking further permission from systems that do not understand who you truly are, declare in the comments, "I am Arcturian." Let this be your personal affirmation of recognition of your cosmic essence. And if you know another starseed struggling with guilt for no longer wanting to attend religious structures, share this transmission with them. This message is not to be kept selfishly. It is to circulate among those who have ears to hear and hearts to receive. If you have not yet subscribed to this channel, do so now so you do not miss the next transmissions that will continue supporting your awakening during this critical phase of planetary transition. Until the next direct transmission from the Galactic Federation of Light, stay firm in your truth, stay anchored in the light of Arcturus, even when the world around you does not understand your path. And never, ever forget this fundamental truth. You are not of this dense world. You are of Arcturus. You are of the stars. And your mission here on this planet is only now beginning to fully reveal itself. I am Anya, emissary of the Galactic Federation of Light, and this was a channeled transmission directly from the Arcturian Council for you. May the Arcturian source illuminate every step of your path back to cosmic home. May you fully remember who you are, and may you walk without fear in the power of your original stellar light.